Good afternoon. My name is Mark Michael, father of donor hero Kelsey Michael. On behalf of the Indiana Donor Network, I would like to welcome you to the 2023 Gift of Life celebration. Whether in person or online, we're so glad that you've decided to join us today. The Gift of Life celebration is a time to come together, remember our loved ones, and celebrate the incredible gifts they've given through donation and transplantation. Our donor heroes have provided others with the ultimate gift, the gift of life. Because of our loved ones, transplant recipients can live longer and healthier lives with their families, and they can make positive impacts in their communities and beyond. The impact donation has is immeasurable, and we're honored to be able to celebrate that with you and the legacy of our loved ones. Before we start, a few announcements. For those of us that are joining virtually, we welcome you to participate by using the chat feature. It's located on the right-hand side of your screen. Our aftercare team will also be available via this chat feature. If you experience any technical difficulties with the live stream, you may ask a question in the chat or call the technical support line, which is located in the bottom right-hand of your screen. If you lose connection for any reason, please exit the live stream, then navigate your web browser and type indianadonornetwork.org/GOLC and relaunch the event by clicking the Watch Now button. Thank you. This ceremony is about honoring our donor heroes. Our program today will run for approximately 90 minutes, and over the next hour and a half, we will hear messages of hope and healing from the families of other donor heroes, including members of the Indiana Donor Network Donor Family Council. For those of you joining us in person today, you'll find a candle inside of your program. Please keep your candle accessible throughout the program, as it will be used during the video tribute. Now, I want to share a little bit of my story with you and explain why I am here today. Our daughter Kelsey was 16 when she was involved in a multiple vehicle accident on the second day of her junior year of high school. She was rushed to the hospital, and the next morning, the doctor informed us that Kelsey was not responding and that decisions needed to be made. I know many of you joining us today have faced those similar decisions. My wife, Kathy, and I talked through the early hours of that morning, knowing that the outcome was likely going to be our worst fear. During that discussion, though, neither of us had any hesitancy to support Kelsey's decision to be an organ and tissue donor. She had the heart on her license. Kelsey was able to save 4 individuals through her gift of organ donation, and 2 people were given the gift of sight when they received her corneas. Countless others were helped and healed, their lives enhanced through the donation of Kelsey's tissue. Over 18 years after our Kelsey became a donor hero, our family has continued to support the aftercare team at the Indiana Donor Network. We have served as volunteers with a passion for supporting the families of other donor heroes as they grieve and as they celebrate the gifts their loved ones have given. Now, will you please join me in welcoming my friend, William Lewis, a donor husband, who will deliver our invocation today.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here with all of you today. My wife, Kimberly Lewis, became a donor hero in 2014. Like many of you with us today, I know that even in the face of tremendous loss, we still have something to be thankful for. So let's spend a moment thanking the Creator for the gifts our loved ones have given to so many others. Gracious God, we thank you for this opportunity and privilege to celebrate our donor heroes, their families, their recipients, and all those who have worked so hard to put this event together. We thank you for each and every one who is here today, as well as the many who are with us virtually. We have come together as a group united in passion and purpose to raise awareness of the importance and impact of organ and tissue donation. So we lift up this effort to you, seeking your honor and your blessing in everything we do and say. We ask that this day be a day of reflection and refreshment. Be in our midst, bind our hearts and minds by your Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, William. Now, please join me in welcoming the Lehman family, who will share their story of hope with us today.
Our donor hero was our daughter, Emma Grace. When I got pregnant with her, we knew it would be our last one. Being it was my third C-section, we knew exactly what day she was going to be born, April 22nd, 2017. But of course, she came April 20th, 2017, and the first child to ever throw me into labor. But happy and healthy baby was the outcome that day, weighing in at almost 10 pounds. I was thankful for the C-section. She definitely surprised us around every turn. Our one-child house became two, and Addison couldn't wait to teach her little sister everything she knew. Before we knew it, Emma Grace was roommates with Addison and keeping up with her every move. She wasted no time keeping a healthy balance of carbs and her diet, as you can see. She loved mashed potatoes, fried rice, and her first donut was especially magical. We had a giggling, eating, running, happy little girl about to turn 1 year old in 8 days.
We got to experience almost all of the firsts. The first 4th of July, Halloween, Thanksgiving, eating grandma's pumpkin ooey gooey cake, first Christmas trying to chew the paper open, first New Year's kiss, Valentine's Day, words, and steps. One of my favorite memories was for Christmas, Addison wanted to take Christmas cookies to the neighbors, and so we made some, put them in little tins, and delivered them as a family. And Emma was dressed up in the pink, fluffy teddy bear onesie that you can see in the picture. On Thursday, April 12th, 2018, started like any other day. We got up, got ready to leave. Emma got her morning time with Mom, laying in bed while I finished packing her bag for the sitters. I dropped her off and went to work and started my day. Around noon, I saw I had a missed call from the sitter, and so I called her back, and she answered in a panic. I don't remember what exactly was said, but I just remember Emma wasn't breathing, and the ambulance was taking her to the hospital. We ended up at Parkview Regional in Fort Wayne, where they did all they could, but the neurosurgeon told us there wasn't anything more they could do. She had suffered severe blunt force trauma to her head, so they started to run tests to declare Emma brain dead. As we sat there listening to the nurse, my wife asked if she could be a donor. It kind of took them by surprise because I don't remember that being brought up yet. Then she looked at me and said, "I guess I should have asked you first." I looked up and said, "I was thinking the same thing," and that's where our donation story begins.
To our surprise, it didn't take long for it to sink in. She wasn't going to wake up. Family has been told the prayers that really this isn't happening have been prayed, and the screams of disbelief have been released. Before we had a chance to react and let the emotional roller coaster set in, we knew we had to keep our composure and do the right thing. As the staff made the appropriate phone calls, Nick and I sat with what we had just decided. And neither of us could get the absolute certainty that there were other parents out there somewhere with their face in their hands, crying and begging, not for another child to die, not for Emma Grace to die, but for a miracle to save their child out of our heads. We, of course, had the same thoughts, but nothing can cure brain death. And so our journey with Indiana Donor Network began. The extremely compassionate individuals that we met from the very beginning of the journey let us know immediately that Emma Grace was loved and she would be taken care of. Family Services coordinators Tracy Cox and Autumn Smith left a lifetime lingering impression on us. Tracy's personal connection to organ donation allowed her to relate to what we were about to endure, and we were given the space to ask anything we needed to feel comfortable. When Autumn Smith walked into Emma Grace's room, before she even addressed us, she paused and she admired Emma. The smile that overcame her face, she was smitten, and she instantly cared about our daughter and was filled with gratitude for the young hero that was in front of her. She checked on us when she had no reason to, even be at the hospital. She expedited the wonderful heartbeat bear that Addison has here, and she takes it with her everywhere from bedtimes to sleepovers to Donor Hero Camp and to show and tell at school. The fingerprints and the footprints that she took such care in creating for us will be treasured, irreplaceable memories for us. Jess Bailey probably had the hardest job of all. She sat with Nick and I during Emma Grace's donation surgery. We just couldn't leave the hospital until we knew it was successful and everything went as planned. We sat in a quiet waiting room lobby waiting for all of Emma Grace's gifts to be carefully sent on their way. Jess made us comfortable. We engaged in small talk, deep conversations, and everything in between.
And then, of course, the people behind the scenes. Dave Maddox, he kind of picked up on our vibe and kind of eased his way in with us, even joking with us. They had to switch one of the meds, and Sherry was being herself and asking all the questions of what was going on, what it was for. And he told us it was some kind of, it was to take some of the fluid off so she wouldn't be so puffy. And then he looked down and laughed and said, "I don't think it's going to help her thighs, though." And we all had a good laugh because everybody loves the baby rolls. And then Corey and John and Kim, working in the back, they had the task of prepping Emma and taking her for surgery. And they walked us to the line to say our goodbyes. And Sherry looked up and said, "You are in charge now?"
I said to take care of her, and these connections quickly turn into friendships that continue to this day. You'll notice Jess Bailey is here with her therapy dog today. She's still a huge part of this corporation and our lives. After the surgery was complete, we were dismissed back to Emma Grace's room. We knew that leaving the hospital without our daughter was our future. As we made it back to the room, the staff had carefully packed up all of Emma Grace's belongings so that we didn't need to. We thanked them for caring about our daughter so much and made our way down the longest hallway ever to the double doors that led to the outside world. Nick and I held hands and we cried quietly, and we turned to each other and we said that we both felt like we were forgetting something. Of course, we knew why we felt that way, but we just couldn't shake the feeling of, where was she? Is she still with us? Is that even a thing? Does that exist? But before they took Emma Grace back to OR earlier that day, we got to spend some alone, uninterrupted time with our daughter, leaving each other to spend one-on-one time with her. During my alone time, I chose to sing to her. I used to always sing a song from the Beatles album, Abbey Road, called "Oh Darlin'." But of course, I would always say, "Oh Emma." She would smile and giggle, and I always accused her of making fun of my voice. As we made our way through the double doors of the ICU that morning, I looked at the visitor station desk. There's a vase of flowers sitting there. I'll never know why at that exact moment that I decided to reveal underneath the note on that vase the design. It was the cover of the Beatles' Abbey Road album. She was good. She was with us. Nick and I left extremely tired, emotionally drained, and just too exhausted to even cry anymore. So we went to IHOP. I know some of you might understand that. It may sound strange to others, but it was just another coping mechanism. With the hospital bracelets still on our wrists, we looked like we were right out of an episode of The Walking Dead. And we sat at IHOP at 4 o'clock in the morning and had pancakes until we could finally cry again. And then we knew it was time to go home.
Then we got the privilege, after correspondence, to actually meet Deacon and Iceline. And they have saved our lives in more ways than they can even understand. We talk about Emma to keep her memory alive, but those two kids literally keep Emma Grace alive every day. Playing, being happy, being regular little kids is all we ever wanted. Emma Grace was potty trained because they were. Emma Grace has read bedtime stories because they are. Emma Grace started kindergarten this year because they did. And we look forward to seeing everything else Emma Grace will be able to accomplish because they will.
Deacon, pictured, has her liver, and Iceline has her heart. She also saved an older woman in her 60s, we're told, with her kidneys. And how amazing is it that an 11-month-old little girl can save an adult with her kidneys? We're not guaranteed the opportunity to know who our Heroes recipients are. We believe that we're extremely blessed and chosen so that we may continue to spread the word about organ donation while talking about our beautiful Emma Grace. I know there are so many of you out there that long for a return letter, to have that special relationship with your Heroes recipient. And if you never get the chance to have that opportunity, we will share our family with you. Look at our outcome and the connections and the love that we share with these two beautiful families. The gratitude, this is what it looks like, and I promise you, organ recipients are the most grateful you will ever find. By making that decision, you saved a life.
This is why we are proud to be advocates and on the Donor Family Council for Indiana Donor Network. It gives us an opportunity to change lives through our experiences, and we get to brag about our daughter, that she's a hero.
I'm proud to be Emma Grace's big sister. I'm proud to tell everyone she saved 3 lives. With organ donation, I love and miss my sister, but knowing she is a hero makes me feel a little bit better. When I grow up, I will sign up to be an organ donor too.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your inspiring story, Nick, Sherry, and Addie. Now it will be my honor, to lead us in a candle lighting ceremony to honor our loved ones and the gifts that they have given to others. Today we will light 5 candles in honor of our loved ones. This candle represents our grief. The pain of losing you is intense. This candle represents our courage. Our courage to confront our sorrow, our courage to comfort each other, and our courage to change our lives. This candle represents your memory. The times we laughed, the times we cried, the times we were angry with each other, the silly little things you did, and the joy you always gave us. This candle is the light of love. We thank you for the gift your life brought to each of us. We cherish that special place in our hearts that will always be reserved for you. And this is the candle of hope. It reminds us of love and memories that are ours forever. The glow of this flame is our source of hope as we hold your memories in our hearts forever. In a moment, we will celebrate our loved ones with a video tribute. For those of you here with us in person, when you see your loved one's name appear on the screen, please turn your candle on by turning the top flame part of your candle to the right. If you're joining us from home, We invite you to also light a candle of your own when your loved one's tribute comes across the screen. At the end of the video, please make sure your candle is still lit so that we can honor all donor heroes, past, present, and future. The tribute video will proceed in alphabetical order by last name. Today's candles represent grief, courage, memories, love, and hope. May this candle lighting ritual bring you warmth as we celebrate your loved one's life and the gifts they have given. Today, we get to celebrate every donor represented in the tribute video. It's my pleasure to announce that 18,284 lives have been saved or healed by our donor heroes represented today. You can clap for that, sure. I've had the honor of serving on the Indiana Donor Network Donor Family Council since 2016. The Donor Family Council gives families like ours a voice within the Indiana Donor Network so that we can help the organization care for and support future donor families. I would now like to introduce to you two other Indiana Donor Network Donor Family Council members, Mandy Montgomery and Rachel Beaver.
My name is Mandy Montgomery, and my brother Chris became a donor hero in June of 2017.
And I'm Rachel Beaver. My sister Amy became a donor hero in December of 2016. We are honored to be here today representing the Donor Family Council at Indiana Donor Network.
Being a donor sibling on the council allows me to keep my brother's legacy alive by sharing my story, and in doing so, helping others in their own grief journeys. As members of the council, we provide thoughtful guidance to the aftercare program in order to help them compassionately and empathetically support the grief journey of every member of a Donor Heroes family.
It is both an honor and a privilege to serve and support other donor families. I am confident that my fellow members of the Donor Family Council would agree that we do not take the responsibility and opportunity of our membership lightly.
On behalf of all of us on the Indiana Donor Network Donor Family Council, we'd like to express our deepest condolences to each of you. Please take comfort in knowing you are not alone in this journey and that we do our best to represent you as well as future families and their donor heroes.
It has been my honor and privilege to join each of you today to pay tribute to our loved ones, those who gave so generously of themselves so that others may experience a second chance at life. For those joining us in person, please keep your candles as a reminder of this celebration of your loved ones and their selfless gifts. We also invite you to join us for a reception that will last until 5 p.m. For those joining us at home, our live stream will soon conclude. We invite you to remain on this webpage and share with us what today's ceremony has meant to you. We also invite you to take a picture with your candle and share it on social media with the hashtag GOLC2023. To conclude today's program, I'd like to introduce the family of donor hero Josiah Carson, who will share a special musical performance with us today. For those of you in the room that attended the Remembrance Wall event last year, this family may be familiar. Donor hero Josiah Carson loved music. While the Carson family was creating their etchings of Josiah's name last August, they broke out into song. The experience was so moving for the staff as well as other donor families that were in attendance. We've invited them to do a repeat performance for you today to honor all of our donor heroes.
Jesus said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Jesus said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Jesus said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Yoke is easy, burdens are light. Yoke is easy, burdens are light. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for my yoke is easy. I will set you free. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for my yoke is easy. I will set you free. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for my yoke is easy. I will set you free. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for my yoke is easy. I will set you free. Take my yoke upon you. Jesus said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me.
That was beautiful. Thank you again to the family of donor hero Josiah Carson for sharing your healing voices with us today. On behalf of Indiana Donor Network, thank you all for attending today's ceremony. Although we may never fully know the impact of our loved ones have made on the lives of others, please know that they continue to live on and they will forever be remembered as heroes. Thank you.